Hi everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Mass Insane Scenario. A few days ago, update 1.1 dropped, as you can see down here. And the dev stated that mods are likely to break, so I went ahead and made a backup of my save game, so if it breaks, I can go back to that. As always, I've left these running for who knows however long, so claim them all. Crazy. Well, time to tear them down though. Goodbye. So, in this episode, we're going to do these two and that one. Make 1.5 million of them. Before we do anything though, I want to see just how difficult it is to make a full space belt crystallizer. This is my current design. Input paint right there, input shapes, output shapes. It's a very good blueprint made by this guy again. I just want to see how difficult it is to fit this on a 2x4 platform, two of them actually. I am back, that was actually really easy. Here's the paint input on these sides, shape input, output. The only reason it's on a 4x4 is because that's how many input slots you need. I think it's also time I gave these things labels. These are the icons. I kind of like them. There's a crystallizer, space belt, crystal, painter, and stacker. Okay, time to actually do important things such as this thing. It looks like we need the Shapes 2 logo, two of them. One is magenta, one is aqua. And some yellow paint for the crystal. Also, I've decided since I don't really care about the MAM, like doing tasks is just not going to be very worth it at all. Especially considering completing any level gives me 5,000. And with all the effort I have to do this, I think I'll hold off on that for this episode at least. After I get Vortex delivery, then maybe I can go back to tasks. But the real problem then is computer. I don't have the computer to handle that much stuff going on at once. Let me put this out of commission so it stops eating my processing power. I've decided I'm going to make one space belt and a half of each shape. What I mean is, that's one input, that's another input. That's from the first shape, that's from the second shape. So this is all for one, this is all for one. Who knows how badly this is gonna end. So first let's make two Shapes 2 logos. I need lots of circles. Let me grab some. Use this blueprint that I saved. Get some squares. Use this blueprint that I saved. My new stacker. And then I can paint this magenta all the way over here. Done. I can copy paste all this over here. That one has to be cyan, which is right over here. Those are done. Then there has to be a partial uncolored one. More circles. The uncolored stuff. Now I just need stackers. So this has to go on the bottom, that on top, then that. A bit of a weird order. It's fine though, because I can send this over like this. Another one. How did I... Then we grab the new crystallizer. Paste it right there. And get a crap ton of yellow paint. Surely that's enough. Yellow over there. Yellow over there. Surely. Yep. Before I do anything else, I want to make an extra half space belt. So how am I going to do that? Easy. So here are all the parts. These are the bottom half circles. These are the squares for the top right. These are the two Shapes 2 logos for the other part. And how am I going to paint only half a space belt? Like this. The input looks scuffed because it is. I'm going to paste it right over here. And now it'll just work. So let me paste it another time over here. One has to be aqua. Let me grab it from the most convenient place over here. Oh, that's not good at all. There we go. Problem solved. Then this one too. The other one has to be magenta, so grab some convenient magenta. I forgot to stack them first. I'm a bit silly. So how do I stack half a notch of stuff? Like this. So I'm going to copy this, paste it, then copy the other half, put it over here. Yes. And then attach them like this. Awesome. Technically, that's just completely unnecessary, but like... Oh, well, I already did it, so... There you go. Magenta over here, aqua over here. Perfect. There's a good chance I broke something. For example, this one doesn't have a prediction. More stacker. Over here. Half a crystallizer platform. Grab convenient yellow from somewhere. That's not enough of these, isn't it? I'm confused over the numbers of this. I figured out the problem. It's because I'm stacking these onto the wrong part. They have to go over here. I don't know how I didn't see that earlier. I'm so confused I couldn't figure out why the numbers were wrong. Alright, with that resolved, I can finally plug these in and connect the yellow paint, which is over here. Right. I am losing it today, apparently. I mean, I did wake up like 30 minutes before the recording, but I doubt that's related. This is a half space belt stacker. I chopped out the inputs where they don't have to go, and plug it in. Not quite. That's correct. Look at how space inefficient this is. 1.5 space belts. I'm also only going to use 6 loaders this time, I think. Having 2 for each of these notches is unnecessary. This one will stop, pick up those 2 notches. Then I'll stop over here, pick up those 4. And then it will get sent over to the vortex. These 4 will go over here, and these will go over here. I'm now making 1.5 space belts because, like I said before, I think 450,000 of these shapes is going to be quite a lot. Okay, that was only the first shape and it took that long to make. I need to step up my game. It looks like this shape is pretty similar, at least the middle layer is. Apparently my crystallizer blueprint does not work. Perfect. I made sure this wouldn't happen while making it, but it did anyway. I have to save it again. So, 3/4 circle and 1/4 diamond, that same thing, and a full circle. I honestly might run out of circles. I also need 1/4 diamond, I almost forgot about that. I am aware I can make a swapper platform. That's gonna take a while though. And why would I do that when I can just not, you know? That's the bottom layer. Once again, just have a diamond coming here, going into this quarter cutter, and the bottom half is the same thing as I did over there. This is a full circle so that can stay unchanged. This has to be cyan. Just siphon it from there. I might run out of cyan, so actually refill it. Magenta circle is just a magenta circle. This is for the half shape. Here's the full space belt for this top half circle. And this is for the half space belt. You know, why don't I stack the magenta circles on top of this thing? And then I can stack this on top of all this. If I can grab my crystallizer, and it will just work. Wow. I might run out of convenient yellows, so maybe I should add more. Here's everything, if I remember correctly. Just do the same thing I did over here. Copy. Paste. A painter. Cyan. Where's convenient cyan? If I keep grabbing things from convenient places, I'll eventually run out of space. This has to be fully magenta. Let me grab a half painter. Half space belt painter. Where is it? This one. Grab convenient magenta. Alright, stack the half circle on top of this aqua thing. Why am I making a full space belt over here? That's not how it works at all. I need half a space belt. Like this. Another half stacker. And a half crystallizer. Convenient yellow from over here. Is this max efficiency yet? Yes. Finally. Right, so I can delete this train line and move it over here. This will work eventually. Hopefully it's max efficiency. Time to completely rework all of this because none of this is actually yeah. By the way, can we take a look at the jump in difficulty from this shape to this? There's so much stuff in the way. Why did I do this? Alright, I did a little bit of cleanup. All of this is over here now. This is not max efficiency. So how do we make this? A bow tie of squares, bow tie of circles, bow tie of diamonds, a lot of crystals too. Why don't I make 1/2 space belt in one area instead of making 1 space belt and then half a space belt? That'd probably make things a lot nicer. I'm aware I can save paint by painting full shapes, but I don't feel like doing that. Or do I? Right. Painter. Put that down. I guess that notch can do whatever it pleases. There we go. 1.5 space belts of this bow tie. The last thing I'm missing is a diamond bow tie. I am now interfering with the space I have assigned over there. It's fine though. Diamond bow tie. These bow ties go here and then they get stacked with this. Wait, that's not correct at all. They have to get stacked with this. Then I have to place those on. Then I have to crystallize it. Has to be cyan. And then the diamonds. Hey, that's done. And then more convenient magenta. That is correct. All of that and I haven't even made the half space belt. This goes through everything into this stacker where it gets stacked with this, which will also go through everything into there. This other bow tie. Half a crystallizer of cyan. So this. The diamonds. Another half a crystallizer of magenta. Done. Right? There we go. I'll check back on that in a while. For now, it is time to delete all of this, I think. Yeah, this is very similar to the shape I just made. And then you want me to completely... Alright. Goodbye, all of this garbage. I love when the shape preview does that. Okay, frame drops. Alright, what do we have? We need diamond bow tie, square bow tie, diamond bow tie, circle bow tie, aqua. So yeah, just basically identical to what I just made. I have a convenient diamond over here that I pulled a long time ago. Here's another one though, and I'm going to build up here because I don't know why I haven't. These are the two bow ties, one on the first layer, one on the third layer. And this will be for the half space belt. Like this. I'm going to paint it first to save paint. That's a stacker. Here is one space belt of that cyan bow tie. This is the other half space belt. Once again, this notch can do whatever it pleases. Here are all the parts. I have to stack diamonds with that cyan thing. And I'm going to change this. There we go. Now it's more convenient. I have to stack the squares next. That square is facing the wrong way. There. I have to crystallize with magenta. There's convenient magenta literally waiting for me right over here. The other set of diamonds now. And then the other crystallizer. This one has to be cyan. There's also convenient cyan right here. It wasn't really waiting for me, but it was convenient. That is a full space belt, assuming I didn't do anything wrong, which I probably did. Those go right there. This has to go across everything. Squares. Magenta. More diamonds. Convenient cyan. Half a space belt. These have to be blue locomotives. That is an entire full vortex. Huge. I haven't checked on this in a while. It's not max efficiency, because of course it's not. What's the problem this time? How is there a lackage of diamonds? Let's take a look at the last one. This is pretty crazy. There's also floating crystals, kind of. Quarter magenta circle. quarter magenta square, quarter cyan circle, quarter cyan diamond, quarter cyan crystal, quarter magenta crystal. Oh my. Okay, that's gonna be a while. For a shape like this, you have to assemble it into quarters because it's impossible otherwise. Can someone explain to me why I have a space belt and I'm delivering white paint with it? Oh, there we go. See, I don't know which one to do first. Maybe I'll do this one because it's just slightly easier. So for a shape like this, since there is a floating crystal, or at least a crystal with a gap below it, you have to assemble this into quarters rather than in like layers. In order to do that, we need to isolate this quarter, then make a mold around it. You'll see what I mean, because it's kind of hard to explain. So let's say we want to make this quarter right here. There is a gap below a crystal. In order to do that, we'll need this mold shape and this shape already in here. Then we can crystallize it, and this will get filled in, which is what we want, like up there. And we'll fill in all this empty space so that we can half destroy it. Then all this will be destroyed, including the one below here. And because it's being held by that, this will stay up there, giving us the gap below the crystal. At least this is how I do it. It's probably not the most optimal way. So I'm first going to get this top right quarter going. A magenta square quarter, a cyan square quarter, and white crystal. Squares. More squares. So in order to make the mold, I'll have to do something similar to what I did in the example if I can find it. Yeah, whatever. I'll need this on the bottom, a mold shape here, 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 and then over here, and then those three also. Instead of talking about it, I should probably just do it. And I'm going to use stars as the mold because that's not present in this shape at all. Here's part of the mold. I have to stack this onto it, like so. Now I need more stars, and I have to cut out 1/4 from them. There's 1/4 punched out from stars. I have to do that again, actually. These can get stacked right here. And then I have to drop this onto all that. Actually, before I do that, before I stack this, I have to drop this onto it. Like that, and then I can drop them with no issues. That should be the mold part, then I can just crystallize it with white. Crystallizing platform. I didn't mean to put it over there. That looks correct to me. I have to destroy the left half, which is what a half-destroyed platform already does. Unfortunately, I don't have a half-destroyed platform, so let me just make one real quick. Yep, that is correct. Paste that sometimes. That is the top right quarter. I have to keep those mold shapes for now because otherwise it would drop the crystal and then break, and then we don't want that. It has to stay there to hold it up. This is a quarter magenta circle, quarter gray circle, quarter cyan circle, quarter gray diamond. Let's do it. Magenta and cyan again, can pull them from very convenient spots. Here are all the parts. The aqua part has to go on top of the gray part, so I can just do this. And this magenta one has to go on below the aqua one, so I can do this. And I believe I can just do this. Right? Yep. Then I can take the diamonds and go like that. For some reason the shape here is broken even though everything's intact, so I'm just gonna hope that's a bug. Now I need a good way to swap these, which I don't have. I'm silly, I did in fact break something, so let's not talk about that. I should not have made the bottom right one because I literally can't. It's being held in the bottom right. Oh well, that was a that was a stupid mistake by me. I guess since we're doing it in order, I should make the bottom left quarter now, which is very similar to this one. For this one I need cyan diamond quarter, magenta circle quarter, and the white crystal. I think I can do basically exactly what I did over here, but change the inputs. I'm gonna try that, so copy all of that. Paste it right there. Apparently I missed one. Whoops. 3 space belts of stars for molding. The diamond and cyan has to go on the bottom. There is a diamond there. Could siphon this one. Yeah, convenient diamond. The next one has to be a circle, and there's unfortunately... Actually, there is a convenient circle. Let's do it. This one, the diamond has to be cyan. Circle has to be magenta. Plug that in. Surely. Oh, right, the white paint. If I were to siphon it from here, I don't trust it to not run out, so I'm going to grab a separate line like I should be doing. Surely. Yep. That is the bottom left one. And now this is in the way, so I unfortunately have to delete it. In order to make the top left one, I have to do exactly what I did over here, so copy paste. Why is it so laggy? Circles. Magenta can go right there. Convenient cyan can go over there. Can't get it out. I got it out miraculously. Plug it in. Since I'm using one notch of diamond here and one notch of diamond here, I can siphon it and use it for convenient diamond over here. Surely this was it. Nice. It's not actually the same. That cyan and magenta have to be swapped. So let me do that. There. So I can stack this one with this one so I can get rid of the mold. Then I have to stack this one with this one. And then stack these two together. Send this all the way over. I can't drop this by stacking it, so I have to send this one all the way over here. Or I can send them both into a middle ground over here. Right, I said I couldn't drop it and then proceeded to drop it. And there is that. So if I swap these together, they should work. Because now this gap is being held by two shapes. The mold, which I don't need anymore, and that, which is part of the final shape. This is where I'll need a solver platform. As you can see, it is making a shape and some garbage which I'll have to toss out. I keep forgetting I can't paste trash onto other layers. Alright, I fixed it. All of the garbage is, well, going into the garbage where it belongs. I have to launch it over here and then do some shenanigans. Can this be more space efficient? Most likely, but I'm not going to do it. This can go like that. This can go like that. One space belt of the milestone shape. Now, that took a really long time, so I don't think I'm going to go through the effort of making half a space belt more. I know it's going to be slightly ugly in the vortex, and it's going to be kind of annoying. It's going to be a lot slower. So what are the chances this is not max efficiency? Very high. So I'll check back on that in a while. In the meantime, we should probably start this at least. This shape is going to take significantly more effort. This time the mold has to be 5 layers tall. I'll need a magenta square, cyan square. Pretty sure I'm making exactly that right over here. I am. I could honestly copy this and just add an extra star. Now that is incredibly far away from where all the shapes are, so that's going to take a while to start working. Hey, that started working. 4 space belts of molding shapes. Time to plug in cyan and magenta. I'm going to not siphon it from a convenient spot because I'm going to run out. Instead, I'm going to make a new line. Magenta on the bottom. Cyan on top. Of course, I'll need the actual shape. I need 2 squares. It's been plugged in. I have a mold. Oh, that won't work. I just realized I can't actually connect the last mold yet. What's going to happen is once I crystallize this magenta, or that one, if I had this on, it will fill the whole thing with magenta, and then I can't fill the last part with white. So I'll have to hold off on stacking that one. For now, I can grab my crystallizer, grab some magenta, see like that, another stacker. This time, I can connect the next piece of mold. See, if I had the 5th layer from previously, they would get filled with magenta and then I couldn't fill it with white. Another crystallizer, grab some white paint from somewhere. And there we go. Half destroyed platform, and we now have the top right quarter. I haven't checked on the other shape in a while. Surely it's max efficiency. It is? Is today my lucky day or something? Next, I'm going to make the top left quarter this time, and I need a lot of paint. So I'm going to need a lot more molding shapes. Unfortunately, I ran out of stars I can use. Those are the 4 space belts of molding shape. So here I have to punch out a quarter and stack it. Punch out another quarter This one has to be magenta, I think? No, cyan. Check out this new cool feature. If you hold the mouse button, it delays the autosave. See, it's frozen at 2 seconds. I'm just gonna keep holding it to delay the autosave. But I'll let it autosave. And there's the cyan crystal. Now these two can get stacked and then get the quarter punched out. Stack. Get convenient magenta to crystallize. There's convenient magenta right here. I think that's it. Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and delete all the molds so that I don't have to do it later. Oh, I deleted the crystal. So there's the top right quarter. Here's the top left quarter. And now I have to do basically all of this again, so I'm just gonna copy, paste. I have to make some slight adjustments over here though. A diamond over here has to be cyan. Here's a convenient diamond. A magenta circle. I need a lot more mold that I don't know how I'm gonna get over there. Maybe this design of main bus is not very optimal. I mean, I already knew that, but like this is, it's putting it to perspective is what I'm trying to say. These are the 4 space belts of mold that I have to transfer all across the galaxy. Mold has been plugged in. I have to plug in the crystals. First one has to be cyan. Convenient cyan is right here. And lastly, white paint all the way over here. Plugged in. Wow, it worked. That is the bottom left quarter. Finally, we need, obviously, the bottom right quarter. And I think we've run out of space so much so that we might clip into a train line. Here is, I believe, everything that I need for the bottom right quarter. Paste it right there. So the bottom right needs to be a circle with cyan. I once again need 4 space belts of molding shapes. I guess I could use these diamonds now. Send them all the way over. I have to get circles all the way across the world. Do I even have any left? I hope I do. Okay, I do. I am now missing magenta over here and then cyan over here. I guess I can grab cyan from right here because it's the closer. And magenta is over here. Please. Let's go. There is the bottom right quarter. Well, so I'll swap these two together. This will get the top half. And then I'll swap these two together. Those are the 2 halves. I can connect this to that one. Then this like so. In theory, nice. By doing that, this has finally died. I checked on it a few times. It's been max efficiency and now it finally died. I figured out what the problem was. It was a lackage of shapes, of course. Not to plug this into a train line. These have to be red. Red line goes over there. Yes. Well, now I don't have much to do other than wait and see how long it takes. I'm back. It's been long enough, I'd say, and this is running at half efficiency. Let's see where I screwed up. How does this keep happening? That was the bottleneck the whole time. So now hopefully even out after a while. Let me check on this again. Still look good. Also, I just ran the numbers. Your conveyor belt can handle 180 shapes per minute. So 180 per minute, and for each notch, that's 12 belts. And I have 4 of those notches because I'm running 1 full space belt. 640 shapes per minute. To deliver 450,000 of them, $52 minutes of waiting. Which is why I wanted to make an extra half a space belt for each of these shapes so I wouldn't have to wait nearly as long. I'd still have to wait a long time though. Alright, back to the void. This can't even run at 2x speed, so I'm gonna have to wait for at least 30 minutes. I am back, it's almost done. Oops. Unfortunately, not every vortex slot is full. But hey, it's done. This is gonna keep breaking, by the way. No matter how many times I fix it, it's gonna keep breaking. Oh, well. Train vortex delivery. I also got an achievement. Wait. What about this one? I delivered like 1 billion of those by now. And that's not... Man. I was looking forward to collecting more levels with that, but apparently not. So I've torn out all of that. There's a pretty good chance I disconnect something over here, and now it's going to stop working completely. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's see. Can I speed up time even faster? No. That did absolutely nothing. Alright, well, I'll be back. Hurry up. Well, I'm back. I have a little bit of a funny story, though. So while I was leaving this running, I accidentally set the time control to 0x, because I normally keep it at 3x when I'm speeding up. So I accidentally clicked this a few too many times and I went to 0x. That's fine, I've done that before, it wasn't a problem. But now the problem was I actually couldn't increase the time. The entire game was frozen. I couldn't press anything. I couldn't increase the time. I couldn't press escape to pause. So I had to alt F4 the game, and so now I'm hoping the autosave was somewhat recent. Anyway, let's see how many levels I have. Pretty good. Probably could wait a little bit longer, but kind of don't want to do that. I want to make some progress. Time to erase all of this. And let's take a look at these prerequisites. We have 1/4 of this, 2/4 of it, and then the final shape. Now this bottom part is actually teaching you how to create that floating crystal. Because we need this special scaffolding part. And then we need to break a crystal and hold it. And making a floating crystal only requires one more step after making this kind of hanging crystal, being supported by a shape. So let's actually get started. We need 1/4 white circle, cyan crystal, and 1/4 white circle. Oh, and also I'm going to make 3 space belts of this just because 1.5 million is quite a bit. Here's the 1/4 cutter. We're going to have to paint it first. White squares, white circles. I'm going to pin push those, stack them. So I have this, I can crystallize it with a space belt crystallizer. Cyan is over here. I'm going to grab a lot. I forgot I needed that mold shape. I might use diamonds as the mold shape because it doesn't require any diamonds. 4 space belts of mold shape. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. That is the mold shape. Actually, I don't need 4 layers, I only need 3 for now. This is the mold shape. For the final shape, I will need 4 layers. Then I punch out 1/4. And then I can stack this. And then I get my crystallizer. That is the shape. Then just make a new destroying platform. Copy it. That's the first prerequisite shape. I do have to copy this a few more times though. This is going to get really expensive in the molding shape department. Alright, copy all this. Convenient white goes over here. Convenient circles go over here. Convenient squares go over here. These are the molding shapes. One goes right here. The other goes right here. The other goes not there, here. Then I have to grab convenient cyan from somewhere over here. And that's done. I didn't make sure if this was max efficiency. Hopefully it is. I'm gonna get the train line right now. And copy all this again. Circles, white, squares, aqua, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. That is correct. This looks like it's max efficiency. Perfect. This is warming up. And that I just built, so we'll see. It's already going through. Here's what I have. I have red, blue, and green trains. Red ones are being loaded from the first station. Blue ones on the second one. And green ones on the last one. At the vortex, we also have 3 unloading stations. This one is red, this one is blue, this one is green. And that will fill up the whole vortex. I will start on this one now. It's pretty similar to what I already have. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can just copy everything that isn't the crystallizers in the mold and it'll just work. This is literally it. Can't think of a good place to put it because I just filled up this area with trains. You know what? I will put it here anyway. What's the worst that could happen? On the bottom, we need circles and white. On the top, we need circles and aqua. Here are circles. That's an aqua line. Plug it in. I also need some white. Here's white. That is literally just it. I just copied that, plugged in different things, and it just worked. Also, that's already halfway done, which is crazy. Cool. Copy this 3 times. Maybe I should leave more space in case I have to expand this. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Everything I need has been plugged in. In fact, I just realized since I'm not going to be sending this anymore, so I can just move the train line over here. I should have thought about that earlier, but it's fine. Let's take a look at the vortex. Yep, a full vortex of this. 20,000 of them per minute. That would be done in 5 minutes. Copy this train line, move it down here instead. I need 3 tiles of space in between each of these, so I can do what I did like down here. Stop, merge, and split. I have to do some more shenanigans now. I might have to go make more paint and then ship it over. So here's what I've come up with. Red trains go through here, stop there, pick it up, and then go over everything else to merge onto the final line. Blue ones go through the middle. Green ones go last. I'll check back on this. It looks like it's max efficiency. Since I copy pasted it, that should also be max efficiency. Now I can do the next one, which is also basically identical. That does mean I will need more molding shapes, which I don't have. I'm going to copy all of it. Why not? And that already started going through. Should be done in 5 minutes as well. What I could do is rework everything and then make these at the same time. What I mean is get a bow tie of mold instead. Crystallize both of them at the same time and then swap out the mold. I might do that. So, see ya. That means I won't need nearly as much mold. Like this, and then the white paint, which I have over here. Those should be quarter white squares. I've copied that onto the next layer. I have to plug in circles now. Circles haven't plugged in. And push the circles. Stack them on top. So I can crystallize those cyan. I don't know where I got an extra tile of space from. I thought I copy pasted it evenly. Now I have to do basically the exact same thing. Copy. Whoa, I accidentally cut it out. I didn't mean to do that. Copy, not cut. Paste it right there. I'm looking at the final shape. I have to rework it because the crystals don't go there. They go on top. Thanks, game. I appreciate that. Oh, that's done already. Crazy. So I need to get 1 belt of squares over there. Easy. Use the 3rd layer. Wait, I don't need squares. I need 2 circles. These go on the bottom. These go on top. I have to grab more convenient white. There's some right here. It's not any strange way of doing it, but that is correct, I think. Yep. I am in fact running out of white, even though I have 6 loaders. Like what? Yeah, I'm not making a lot of white at all. I have to get the actual mold pieces now, which are right here. Oh, and here's the cool part. Since I need a bow tie of mold, I can save a lot of shapes. So I can just make half a space belt of a 3-layer tall mold. Here's what I mean. If I get some stackers like this, that's a mold. Full space belt, actually. But now, if I get my cutting platform and the bow tie maker, I now have twice the amount of mold. For that, at least. That is 2 space belts of mold. I think, at least. There's a good chance I messed up a number somewhere. However, I do need 3 space belts, not 2, so... Another space belt. I'm just gonna half destroy it and be wasteful. Yes, I know it's uneven, I don't care. Here are my 3 space belts of that bow tie mold. So first I have to stack all of these together. Very good. I have to send this all the way over somehow. Perfect. Then I can get crystallizer platforms. There's a significant lackage of white. I will also need more for the final shape, so I might have to increase production of white paint, so... Yeah, it doesn't stop like that. Alright, I guess I can do that now, at the same spot. green, red, blue. Here looks like a good spot. Lots of white. That's a wire from over there. Alright, I should be getting a shipment of white soon. This is still completely empty. I could temporarily reroute the green trains into here. I honestly don't know how I'm using that much white. It really isn't that much. 3 space belts of this. There's a good chance I'm going to run out of cyan, so I might have to do something about that. That solution is plug in more. You know, maybe making 3 space belts of this milestone shape is a bit too ambitious because of... I need a lot of cyan. Alright, time to erase the garbage. Right. Oh my god. Rate this layout. Alright, that took way too long, but I finally have 3 space belts of this. Alright, time to finally move this train line. It's been a while since I had to do that. Okay. Alright, send the train on its way. And hopefully this starts working. Hopefully it's max efficiency too. And in order to make this, I just have to get a half mold, get some red garbage paint, and then fill it in. I'll use these stars as molds because they're right here. I could do something similar to what I did over here, and I probably should. 3 space belts. Stack, stack, stack. Mold is in place. Crystallizers. I'm gonna need a crap ton of red paint, so just use all of this, I guess. Crystal in place. And that's done already. Let's see if this is max efficiency. Probably isn't because there's lackage of white. Yep, I knew it. It's completely empty. White is the bottleneck, just like I predicted. I guess I could just plug in this temporarily. Alright, well, I guess I'll just wait for both of those to be done. Alright, so that was done, and then I plugged this in. So while that's running, here's how you make a floating crystal. That's the shape we need. First, we do exactly what we did in the previous milestone, which is to create a crystal with a gap below it separated by a shape. As a reminder, first we get this special setup. We have the quarter that we need and some empty space. Then we crystallize it to get the crystal where we want it and in a spot where it can be broken. Then once we destroy that crystal, there will be a gap below that crystal. Then we have to do one more step, and that is to create a special scaffolding shape that looks like this. We can stack that on with this, and you can see it attached to the crystal. Now watch what happens when we destroy that mold. You see that the crystal is now being held by the scaffold, and the shape, since it's not being held by anything, the pin can't hold it. It fell. Then we can swap it with the other corner to hold it into place, like this. Then we can remove the scaffold, and we have a floating crystal. So while this is running, I'm going to go ahead and tear down all of this for the 3rd time. Now let's see if I know what I'm doing. And that is done very fast. Here's the scaffolding shape. I will need a quarter white circle, quarter cyan circle. I'm not going to have enough cyan to run 3 space belts, I've realized. I probably have enough to run 1 space belt. Cyan circles, white circles. White goes over here to go on the bottom. Cyan goes all the way over here. Stack these together. Strangely, but it works. I now have the scaffolding shape. Let's get a crystallizer. Can't put it there because one of the inputs is blocked. Let's grab some cyan. There is the crystal. Hovering crystal. I'll need more shapes to create the scaffolding. This has made me realize my main bus is very suboptimal. So what I'll do is pin push, then cut. Like this. I actually have to pin push them a few more times. That's enough times. Then if I stack those together, that is now being held by the scaffold. That is the shape, or at least that quarter being held by the scaffolding. Took that much effort for only 1 quarter. I forgot this takes a while. And I have to copy paste this 3 times, but I don't think I will because I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of cyan after 1 space belt. I could increase the capacity and I might have to do that. Well, in any case, I'm going to do the top left quarter next, which is circle, 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 crystal. White, cyan, I guess. Paint, quarter cut. White goes there as well. Cyan goes there. I did all of that and I don't even have the molding shape. There's the molding shape. If I grab some stackers like this, I can send this over from the side. I might want to do something like I did in a previous step, which is where I made this quarter and that quarter at the same time, so I could save some shapes in the mold and save some paint in the crystallizing. I might do that again. Quarter. There is the top left quarter. Swap ring platform. Where's the prediction? Is it being trashed? It better not be. It's the shape being trashed. Nice. Here's my solution. Just mirror it. And there you go. All of that effort for the top half of the shape. I have to do all this again, and then if I wanted to get a full vortex of 3 space pelts, I have to do all that like 2 more times. So yeah, I guess 3 space pelts was a little too ambitious. I am gonna run out of cyan. Right now it doesn't look like any have gone through because the machine is idle. But once all the cyan goes through and starts being used in the crystallizers and stuff, it's gonna drain really fast. I'll probably also have to make more white, but cyan is a bigger priority because it's used a lot more in the crystals. I also thought of another optimization so that I don't have to use nearly as many of these molding or scaffolding shapes. Right here I'm taking a shape, pin pushing it, cutting it to quarters and then using that. But what I can do is recycle the previous scaffolding shape. Over here, instead of destroying the scaffolding, I can cut it and separate it and then recycle that part. I'm not sure if I'll do that though, because one unloader for a full space belt of this scaffolding is honestly not that bad. And it's not like I'm running out of that many shapes. So what I'll do now is find a bunch of blue and green asteroids, make a lot more cyan, and then send them over here. This is going to eat up a lot of my processing power. 1 green asteroid so far. 1 blue asteroid. And here's a little bit more cyan. And here's another train. Alright, I just made a discovery, and that is I am unbelievably stupid. So here is 1 notch of blue. Here's 1 notch of red. And that's being handled by one of these painting or mixing platforms rather. It's working at max efficiency. Meanwhile, in all of my mixing platforms, I'm mining this entire paint asteroid thing, and it's going into just 4. All of this red paint is going into 4 mixers. So I can be making so much more paint. It's not even funny. So I might have to rework all of this and see just how much yellow I'm actually getting. Alright, so for every 3 of these full ones, I can run 1 mixer. I'm just going to do a rough estimate and see how much. I've just counted. This can run almost 20 mixers. Once again, I'm just using casual 4 mixers. So that's crazy. Let me, yeah, get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so this probably isn't the perfect number of mixers, but even with this, I've more or less quintupled my yellow production. Keep in mind, that's only with 2 asteroids. Alright, there's the yellow train line. I don't know why I did this first. I don't even need yellow at the moment. But look how fast that filled up. Holy. Okay, let's actually do it for cyan, which was the important one. I'm just gonna willy-nilly place 20 because that's probably enough. And plug in some more. I did not count the amount of miners I had at all, by the way. I just put the 20 because that's what I did for the yellow. It doesn't have to be too perfect anyway. Here's a more proper amount of cyan. Okay, here's 20 things of cyan. I think I'll do another one and then send it over, and then I'll be done with cyan, and then I'll have to actually upgrade white. I'll upgrade them all probably off camera because I don't need to do that right now. And here is a much better cyan mixer place thing. So let me upgrade white and then I'll actually continue with some important things. It's kind of crazy that I was able to live from just this amount of white until now. Okay, it's gotta go though. I'm just gonna place 20 again just because. Oh, what happened to what's happening over there? Alright, that actually took a lot longer because I had to plug in 3 paints, but now I have 20 white mixers, and that's filling up a lot faster. I'll probably do that with another one of these set of asteroids because white's pretty important. So I think I'll do that. I already have it over here. It's a little bit messy, but that's nothing I can't fix. Alright, that is a lot more white paint. If I need more, I have 3 more asteroids that I can use, but for now I won't. 40 white mixers. Hopefully that's enough. I think I also have 40 cyan mixers somewhere. Yep, 40 cyan mixers. If I need more, which honestly I might still, then I'll come back and upgrade this again. And you know, if I want to make 3 space fields of this, I'm going to need so much more space. I don't know how that's going to work. I might have to settle with 2. For now though, I probably can copy paste everything I did already. Because I have to make basically this exact same shape. Also, one more thing that I said I was going to do last time but didn't. I'm going to make this quarter and this quarter at the same time, just so I can save on paint and for the crystal and stuff. Right now I'm only making the top left quarter individually, and I can save resources if I make them both at the same time. I can also probably save some space too, should be even better. So in order to do that though, I'll have to rework all of this, unfortunately, so goodbye. Time to do the same thing I've been doing so many times. Square with white. Quarters. I'm using all 3 platform layers and having all the quarter cutters like this. Circles are going on this one and the one below it. One has to be aqua, there's convenient aqua right here. Another one has to be white and there's convenient white right here. I can stack those all together. That is correct. I have to do this one more time. Just paste it over here. All of those have to be circles. White down there, also on the top. Aqua in the middle. Yep. So here is the middle part of that shape. Now what I can do is grab these convenient stars and turn them into bow ties. So if I grab 2 stackers, one right here and the other one right here. I just realized I only need 1 stacker because I need 2 space belts. This is a full space belt of that thing, which I can then cut into halves like this. I need to turn those into bow ties. Now I have a lot of bow ties, 2 space belts of these bow ties, but I only need 1 space belt, so I can stack some of them onto the other one. Like this, that is a full space belt of this bow tie. Then if I stack this on top of this, there we go. Now it's like crystallized with cyan, those 2 will get filled in. So let me grab a crystallizing platform and put it somewhere, like here. Need cyan, there's convenient cyan literally waiting for me. There we go. Now I have to cut out those bow ties, which should be relatively easy. I can do it with this blueprint right here. This is complicated and unnecessary. Alright, don't mind how questionable this blueprint is, but it works on a 1x2 platform. This was not worth it. But look, I can input this shape and I get this in return. Huge. I just realized making that was completely pointless because I need to split them into quarters anyway so that I can swap them with the actual other parts like that one. So yeah, well, just wait till like 10 minutes. What I could have done was this. I had the shape being split into half, rotated, half destroyed, rotated back, and yeah. Also I just realized these are not overflow protected. That's important. Okay, all that effort for not the complicated part of the shape. It's not looking good. Now I'm pretty sure I can just copy paste all of this to make the last part of the shape, and I think I will do that if I can figure out what to copy. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's everything I need to copy, so copy over here. Yeah, getting everything over there is going to be a mess. Also, I have to reverse engineer this because I do not remember where anything goes. Looks like I need 3 space belts of mold. Over here I need the white circle quarter and the cyan circle quarter. Also, in case it wasn't obvious, I don't care about making this neat anymore. Okay, anyway. Cyan on the bottom, I'm just going to pull it from there. White on top, where's the white? Up here. Alright, those are the circle quarters. I need cyan for the crystal now. I'm gonna grab more cyan because I'm using too much on one pipe and I'm gonna run into throughput issues otherwise. Okay, lastly I'm missing the last mold part, or the scaffolding part, so let me grab, I guess, a square. Will this work? Oh my god, it actually did. Wow. These are all 4/4 of the shape. I've got the bottom left right here, I've got the bottom right over here, I've got the top left right here, and I got the top right over here. And this is how much space it took. So needless to say, if I wanted 3 space belts, I'm gonna have to make this a lot neater. For now though, let's swap everything in place. If I swap these two, I should get 1/2 of them. Yep. And then I go over here and swap these two. So here's the right half, here's the left half. Then these into another row of swappers, and that should be the final shape. And there it is. The milestone shape is done. So this is most likely not max efficiency, seeing as this is what I'm dealing with. That's a lot of jank, to say the least. Alright, let's see how long it will take for this to actually complete the milestone. I need 1.5 million of them, and I'm making 8,640 per minute. That'll take 173 minutes, or almost 3 hours. If I'm actually making all 3 space belts, I'd get almost 26,000, and that would take still almost an hour. And you know, I kinda didn't plan for expandability at all. If I was smarter, which I'm not, I would have done that, and then I could actually build 3 space belts. So as much as I don't want to, I think I'll have to speed it up to 3x, and then sit in the void. I could make a second space belt, but I think 3 is pushing it. I can't even copy all this because it's so messy. Okay, let's see if it fits. This is 255,000 buildings, by the way. Can't move it at all, it's so laggy. Okay, right there. Okay. And there's another one. What if I put another one right over here? Yeah, that's a funny idea. How am I going to figure out what goes where? It's going to be impossible. Alright, so these 3 need to be molding shapes because they are over here. I think I'll grab diamonds because they're right here. Never mind, I'll use stars because nothing's in the way of them. Then I need 3 space belts of circles. So I'm not using as many circles as I thought I would, surprisingly. These 4 also have to be molding shapes, as evidenced by over here. Just have to use squares. Now I need an actual square input. And there's another one down here. Alright, square plugged in. Next one is a circle, and then another square, which is actually used for a mold. Or the scaffolding, same thing. Circle plugged in. I can use some stars for the scaffolding because it's right here. Right in here, that has to be, I don't know, let's find out. Looks like it's a circle. Right, I think that's all of the shapes plugged in. Now the only thing I have to plug in is the paints. I know these 2 are cyan, so I might as well just plug them in. Like, there's also a floating L shape of pipe right here. Like what? There's another mysterious L right here that leads to nowhere. This one has to be white. Right, white will go in there. This has to be cyan. This also has to be cyan. The top one has to be white and the bottom one has to be cyan. Okay. Cyan right there. Alright, I think I've plugged everything in. Never mind. Oh wait. Holy, it worked. I was not expecting that to work. Oh, I should not have pressed Ctrl V. Oh my god. I should not have moved it. Okay, that was a joke. I am not pasting another one actually. But now, put a blue locomotive, and I'm now making another space belt of this milestone shape. 2 space belts. As much as I want 3, once again, I can't. But hey, look at that. 100,000 already done. I just have to do that 14 more times. Let me take a screenshot of this jank. Wow, I pressed F12 and it took 10 seconds to take a picture. I think all I have to do now is hope that both of them stay max efficiency. I did check on this. It was max efficiency. I'm just going to check again. It looks max efficiency to me. And once this fills up, I'll check on it. And we'll see what happens. So here we go to the void. I'll see you in like, I don't know, 1 hour. All right, now I've delivered 245,000. Let's see if this is max efficiency. It is. I can't believe this. All right, well, just like every other milestone, I'm going to leave this running all night and then see how many I have when I wake up. That's a joke. I'm not going to leave it running all night. Maybe like an hour at most. So I'll see you then. In some important news, we finally passed 1 million shapes. It's so close. And done. Let's claim the milestone. I've completed the pre-1.0 insane scenario, and now we have to work with trade stations. You now have access to trade stations. Exchange your shapes for increasingly exotic refined shapes. On top of that, your operator shape plan goals are now randomized and infinite. Also, apparently, I've completed every milestone, but now there's more milestones, so I don't know what that's about. What I'm going to do now is go to the shop and buy as many shape multipliers as I can. Hopefully it's a decent amount because I do have 486,000 research credits. 5x. That's crazy. So now I should get levels much, much faster, which is good because I can use that for even more shape multipliers. I'm not sure what the max is. I think it's 12x. And that's going to take a lot of research credits, so I'm going to have to wait on that. But that 5x shape multiplier is going to be really helpful for stuff like this, where I'm going to need 2 million of this. You know how long it's going to take to get that much? At least with the 5x multiplier, it's not going to take that long. Or not as nearly as long as this one. Yeah, this is going to keep going up extremely fast because I'm making 2 space belts and it's at 5x multiplier. Look at that. So I'll leave this running for a while longer and I'll see you whenever I'm sick of leaving this running, I think. But with that, I think it is time to finally end this episode. It's been a while. This episode has lasted a long time, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do everything. See ya.